Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, hello, Dapu, and assalamu alaikum. So this is Dr. Sadiq Jaja. I am Associate Professor of Operations and Supply Chain Management and also Director for Executive MBA program at Suleiman Dawood School of Business at Lums. And this is my pleasure to have this session with our alumni who have very kindly given us their time to come on this webinar and share their experiences before they became part of Executive MBA, during Executive MBA, and how Executive MBA has supported them, shaped up the activities that they have been doing after their graduation. So the idea of this webinar is that we cherish the moments that we had in Executive MBA, and also we give more first-hand information about Executive MBA to our potential applicants who are considering Executive MBA or business education at this stage of their career. So we'll try to leverage the experience of our alumni before they came to Lums and during Lums and after Lums. So for that, I'm very happy that we have Hassan Altaf Sleen. He's business unit head at Crescent Steel and Allied Products. He's our MBA alumnus, Executive MBA alumnus of 2016. Then we have Farooq Rais, Executive MBA alumnus of 2017. He is country director of General Electric. Then we have Mr. Dafu. He's alumnus of Executive MBA 2018. He's joining us from Beijing. And Hassan Altaf and Farooq Rais, I think they are joining us from Lahore. And then we have Anwar Ahsan Khan. He's Executive MBA alumnus of 2020. And he is joining us from Atak. Then we have Abu Adil Mir. He's MBA, Executive MBA alumnus of 2019, and he's joining us from Lahore. Abu Adil Mir is Chief Operating Officer at Starlet Innovations Limited, and Anwar Ahsan Khan is Team Leader, Reliability and Asset Integrity at MOL, Pakistan Oil and Gas Company. So thank you very much, everyone, alumni, and those who are joining us at the social media for this webinar. So maybe I can begin from when you are thinking about your MBA or further education in business. So maybe we can think from there and we can look at that time, meaning before joining Executive MBA. And we can talk about the needs or the sense that you have that why you wanted to go into a business program in the executive education, and what kind of learning needs that you felt at that time. So if that is okay, we can begin from there, and then okay, so maybe I can begin from Farooq. Farooq, maybe you can elaborate on that point, and then we can ask somebody else also.
Sure. So thank you, Shakil sir, for this opportunity. And talking to potential executive MBA participants, it's my pleasure. So talking about why going for MBA or business studies. Typically in our careers, we spend like 8 to 10 years of our initial career time in one segment of an industry or probably in one function, right? And our thinking process becomes so structured in a way that we only take decisions in the paradigm of that specific segment or that specific function. And if you are curious enough to ask questions and wanted to understand more that why certain business decisions are being taken by the organization, then you start asking more and more questions to yourself, right? And in my case, I was typically working in an energy sector before, either in gas sector or in power sector, which are somehow related. And while working in General Electric at that point in time, there were many questions which came across For example, what's the relationship of a product cost with the sales, right? Our sales were declining, but our product cost was increasing. Why it's happening? Why inventory was considered to be very bad, whereas it was very good for salespeople. Like we get a PO and we ship the product right away, our customer is happy. So similarly, why we did have a technically superior product in one segment and we were unable to sell that product in the market. What was the reasons, right? Similarly, from organization standpoint, we typically had better salaries from the market, but when the market was going down, our team was not very motivated, right? What were those reasons? And similarly, why some multinationals operating with different limited liability companies in different parts of the world, and what's the reason? So, I mean, these type of questions used to come to my mind, and I was, typically unable to get complete understanding of that. And I thought that why I can't, explore and see what other avenues are available within Lahore through which I can, get my learning going. And that's where Shakil Saab, that was one of the key reasons that I, explored and opted to go for an executive MBA program at Lums.
Thank you, Farooq. I think that captures that how at the crossroads of your career in your middle to senior tier of management, you start feeling need for a business education, particularly if you're coming from non-business education background. So you start asking those questions to yourself. And then if you have intelligent brain, you want to seek answers also for those questions. So that brings you to the idea of seeking more education. Very good response. So Hassan, I will come to you. And you see, I know that you belong to a family business also. And many times students and applicants think that if we are running a family business and we have perhaps specific needs that are specific to the nature of a family business, because family businesses run somewhat differently than how other non-family businesses run. So you also took this decision that you want to do a master's in business administration. How did you look at that need of your learning? Hassan, you have to unmute yourself.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम. Sorry, again apologies. I'm traveling. The connection is a bit choppy. वो वापस login हो रहा था. I think I can quite relate to what Farooq has said about the need to join, and I especially felt that coming from a family business with a liberal arts education, when I a few years into it, my joining the executive MBA was actually a bit accidental also. Or accidental वो इस तरह हुआ कि I had actually joined the executive certificate in agribusiness management at Lums, and I had joined that because at that time, from our business point of view, we were seriously considering getting into corporate farming, exploring that side, and I thought, this is a new program that's being introduced, and it's totally aligned with what I am trying to push in the company to get into corporate farming and all that. And what better thing to do than to do the Lums certificate in agribusiness management. वो करते करते जब मुझे Lums से exposure हुआ, meet a lot of the faculty, that is when I also got into thinking about, more seriously about a proper MBA degree, because I had actually never really gotten any formal exposure in the business education side. I came from a completely liberal arts background in my bachelor's degree, came back, joined the business, and just, mostly learned on the job and moved up from there. And there's always this question, आप उसको शायद self doubt भी कह सकते हैं, शायद inquisitiveness कह सकते हैं. But there's this question, am I really missing something out by not having a formal exposure? And in the meantime, I got into this the certificate program, and that just kind of cemented for me that I definitely want to pursue this. After experiencing the Lums faculty, the Lums people, the Lums campus, I made up my mind another 2 years here would probably just do me good. So that's how I got in. And professional careers, like you specifically asked, 8 or 12 years on, what does one look for? And I think this applies pretty much across the board, no matter what profession you get into. Basically, from your early days to your more senior days, you go from taking instructions to giving instructions. That's the one major change that happens over time. And
Yes,
I
yes.
think 8 to 10 years, 8 to 12 years you have basically learned the ins and outs of your business or of your office or company culture, of your colleagues. And now this is the time where you need some external help or education and decision making. And for lack of a better phrase, learning from others. And that is what I think the MBA program gives you in this collaborative, sometimes argumentative environment that's created by the case study method at Lums. You actually get to engage not just with the professor, but with other professionals from different industries. And maybe it's not that tangible to put down that I learned XYZ formulas and techniques, but that experience of engagement, of sometimes arguing your case and sometimes losing your case, and getting everybody's angle on a certain case, I think that's very important as we get more and more senior into our organizations and get decision making. So that's probably the single largest thing that you get out of it, is to get a more analytical way of approaching business rather than a purely technical follow the instructions.
Yes, yes. Thanks, Hassan. So maybe that takes us to a natural question that, so whether it's a family business, it's non-family business, when you are at this stage of your career, you want a business education, and that makes you consider Lums Executive MBA as one of the options. So if I move the conversation forward, and I can take response from Adil, and then I will ask Dafu also to respond to the same question. So Adil, I know your profile. You are working in Procter & Gamble, Racket Bank is a Packages Pakistan, and then also you have been working outside this country for several years before you decided to join Executive MBA. So, I mean, a person like yourself can consider that I've worked in Procter & Gamble for maybe, 8 years in Germany and Morocco, and I have been exposed to many good practices of management already. What is that I can learn from doing another master's in business? Because I know you already had master's in engineering management also. So, I mean, what made you think that Executive MBA at Lums can be more value adding? So maybe you can elaborate that.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Shakil, for giving me this opportunity, and I would say hello to everybody who is joining us on the Facebook Live as well. So just to answer your question, yes, you're right. As you have already mentioned, some of my career spans, which covered also some of the multinational companies and also working in abroad as well. I would say the biggest reason why I wanted to join business studies was, since I'm from an engineering background, I'm a mechanical engineer, and for the engineers, we have a mindset of questioning, why certain phenomena is happening. We are very good in, analyzing the mechanical troubles or problems, but we are not that good in, business analytics. We can grow up to a certain level with our technical knowledge, with an engineering degrees, but at certain stage, when you need to grow in your career, especially into positions like what we call the C-level position, we must need to have a business knowledge. There is no other way that you can enter into a C-level position if you don't have this business knowledge, because you need to understand the whole dynamics, how this cash flow works, how the product, the Farooq has already mentioned some of the elements. What is the relation between the product availability in the inventory, or we need to calculate the cost. So the major reason for me was to understand that business perspective, and especially I would say in business, I would correlate the financial perspective. We engineers, we are, as I said, we are very good in the technical analysis. But what we are lagging is the true sense of business, the whole cycle. I also had the degree, as you mentioned, the master's degree in engineering management, which also somehow was, I would say, a very good basic for me, which has served me a good basics to enter into the Lums, because Lums, if you are coming directly from a pure engineering background, would be very, very difficult for some. I would not say difficult, but very challenging, because the pedagogy of Lums is also the case-based studies, which generally not every undergrad universities follows. So this all, the feedbacks which we are getting also from the market, okay, from where we should do the business studies. To be honest, I think there is only two names. One is in Karachi and one is in Lahore. So if I have to compare, there's no comparison of Lums. Lums gives you all the opportunity, not only to learn from the professors, from the faculty, but I would say more we learn from the class participation. We learn more from the different professionals which are joining you in the same program. So nutshell is, yes, business knowledge, financial aspect of the business. And obviously, when you are also learning and getting through the trainings on the organization development, the OB and organization development courses. So that also added into the human resources perspective. So you become more good manager at a very senior level where you can take a strategic decision. So that is where Lums really added much, much more into any incumbent who is joining any, either it's a basic degree of graduation, and for us, it was an executive MBA. So we have, it's a good combination of getting the knowledge while keeping on yourself on the job. So that's it from my side.
Thanks, Adil. So Dafu, your previous education was from China. You were working in Zong at a senior level position. Possibly you were forcing yourself going back to China also in future, and still you decided to do executive MBA from Lums. So my question is that why did you decide to do it from Lums and executive MBA?
Sir, my first point, today is my honor to join this event. Actually, I worked 4 years in Pakistan. It's my golden memory in Pakistan. I always think about Lums, think about Lahore, always in my dream. And in 2015, when I work in Zong, I am a regional director in Lahore, in Punjabi. So at that time, because Lums is big limb, number one in Pakistan. So it attracted me. So because the big limb, so I visit Lums, meet the professor. So I understand the Lums, the good education. I think it deserves I come to Lums. So this is the first point. The second point, in China, when you about 35 years old, it's sometimes it's a career crisis, because after about for example, like 35 years old, almost work about 10 to 12 years work experience. So the education, the knowledge somehow maybe out of date. So at that time, I think, how can I reshape my future? For example, maybe 35 years old, if I want to shift industry, I want to do a new job, I want to join the finance sector, how can I do it? So I think Lums is my good choice. This is the second point. And number three, because for example, I already work in telecom sector. At that time in 2015, I already work in the telecom sector 11 years. So somehow I feel that something like boring, because I already doing same job 11 years. So I think if I can do something new, so I think maybe I need to learn new things. So I think Lums will help me. So I come to Lums. So this is the 3 points I come to Lums. And it really reshaped my future. 2019, I come back to China. Right now, I work in the finance sector, work in the finance technology sector. And the learning in Lums, the learning in the Mba really helped me, It gives me the knowledge of finance. My English is not such good before I come to Pakistan. Only speaking, when I come to Lums in the beginning, even I cannot understand what the professor is saying, my classmate, what they are saying. But after some time, I feel that it really add value to my career, add value to my knowledge. So right now, I'm very happy. I have the confidence to work in the finance sector, to work in the finance technology sector. And Lums Mba learning really helped me in my middle career, reset my future, so I can shift the industry. So if someone in the middle career, I recommend you come to this program. It deserves you spend 2 years learning here. And Lums, I think it's really international. When I study in Lums, we go to USA, go to Silicon Valley. I know a lot of friends in Silicon Valley. And when I come back to China, so right now I'm an alumni from China, and welcome our alumni students come to China. I'm waiting for you in Beijing. And I'm very happy and very lucky. I'm the first student, first Mba student, the Chinese Mba student in Lums. So if you come to this program, you will know some Chinese boss, some Chinese top management in Pakistan. So you will have very strong network in Pakistan. Also, you will have very strong network in Chinese business sector. So it will really help you. So this is my some point. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dafu. We also miss you. And we look forward to seeing you in Lahore in future, or seeing you in Beijing when we come there. So
thank you, sir.
So let me take now in chronological terms, take the conversation forward and think that we are at Lums and we are doing Executive MBA. Anwar, and I will ask you to please respond to this, that if you recall those 2 years of Executive MBA, what were the aha moments? What were the surprising moments? What are the memories that you cherish, you recall? From learning standpoint and from non-academic, or you can say your collegial standpoint. So from both standpoints, I would like you to take on this and elaborate that how was your experience?
First of all, sir, I would like to thank you and Lums for allowing us for this opportunity. And I would also like to welcome all the viewers at this webcast. Sir, Lums, I guess Lums Executive MBA was just like a dream come true. And if I recall the time, starting from the SOP that we have the complete 10 days. So it was a total, you can say, a grilling experience in which you are pushed to your limits. You are given assignments, you have to prepare for class participation. That's a major part, because when we are coming from an engineering background, so I was like, or maybe the other students, and you have to prepare for the business cases and then the CP, especially when you are dealing with the senior professors. So the content of your CP, these are the things that you have to prepare, and the time management. So I guess the first lesson that you get in Lums SOP is the time management and punctuality. Lums teaches you that to be a good business executive, you have to be punctual. And this is something which has been inculcated in all the Lums graduates starting from the very beginning. And which I believe when I'm sitting in business meetings right now, I can feel this thing that this has become a habit for us. And when talking about the learning experience, so the class mix is very unique. You have people from different backgrounds, from different industries, and you are not only learning from the instructor, you are learning basically from the class mix, the participants. So the case-based is basically a participant-centered learning method, and you get views from other colleagues who have different experiences, like someone is working in automobile, the other one has got a background working in HR side in some organization. Even we had one colleague from China, she's heading TCL. So it's a diverse experience. And then when you have to meet the deadlines, Lums is very strict in deadlines. You have to meet the deadlines and you have to submit the assignments, all that. And then I would also like to touch upon the Silicon Valley experience. That was something very unique. You get a chance to meet top of the line entrepreneurs and companies like Google and Facebook. So very unique, who have done their education from Pakistan and how they have been successful in their whole career. And after graduating from Lums, even as of now, we are having different reunions for the Lums alumni. And that's all, I would say that the bond that we had in Lums has continued as of now. We are connecting with each other, we do meet up, and we are sharing the moments with each other.
Thank you, Anwar. Maybe I think this is what you come here for learning and for network and for learning from colleagues, learning from faculty, exactly, and also learning from the ecosystem at Lums. So I think I would like this point to be elaborated further, and maybe I can request Farooq to take on this point and how what were the key moments or your memories as far as this part is concerned during Executive MBA. And then perhaps I'll come to Hassan or Adil and I'll ask them about the friendships and the social, aspects of Executive MBA. But I'll perhaps first take Farooq on this.
Right. I think, as Anwar just mentioned, one of the key learning, initiative was Silicon Valley experience. And I think that's a big initiative from Mba Lums. And then the kind of connections we made even there are still ongoing. And that's a beauty about studying in Lums, because it gives you that opportunity not only to connect, but also people, sort of give you that value being Lums graduates, and they try to keep in contact even afterwards. So I think that's important. Secondly, I think Mba is unique because after 8, 12 or 15 years of experience, most of us have families, have kids, right? So I think for me, initially, it was difficult to absorb that whether I will be able to go through all of this, managing a family, managing a home, doing an MBA along with, I was also going through home construction at that point in time. So it was a lot of things happening in my life, but that taught me that it pushes me to beyond my boundaries, but it happened. Eventually, we went through it and we were successful, and we cherish all those moments because it was the continuous struggle we went through. So I think, and that's how I will recognize, Lums learning moments for me.
Thank you, Farooq. So Adil, I know you were working at a senior position when you were doing Executive MBA. And I'm sure your class fellows also had similar responsibilities. So what kind of friendships did you make in the Executive MBA program? And how did that network play a role in your in your professional, and in your intellectual development?
So basically, I would say the beauty of Lums is diversity, which is also one of the value as well. And also it teaches you a tolerance. And why I'm saying it teaches you a tolerance, because when you are, participating into a class participation, or even what we call a group discussion before our lecture, so everybody has to, convey his or her response, and the other person have to respect the time and the opinion of the others. So this is something which you naturally learn, even if you need to absorb if the other opponent is totally, killing your argument, put it that way. So you still need to articulate your arguments in such a way that you are still defending your your point of view, either it was in the favor of the point which has been discussed, or whether it was against. Now, with this one, some of obviously you everywhere, wherever you go, you will quickly find some like-minded people, and there are some challenging people as well. So when it comes to the class participation, so everybody is looking for obviously numbers as well, which creates sometimes division as well. But that's a beauty, I would say. I will take this as I already mentioned, as a positive way. The social and networking, no doubt, that helps a lot. Like for example, I was working as a plant manager when I was doing my executive MBA, and soon after finishing my executive MBA, I worked as a general manager position in Karachi, and now I am working as a chief operating officer in Lahore. So these, senior level positions where networking and social relationships count a lot. We at Executive MBA, we developed networking, like we had almost 3 or 4 colleagues which were working as a general manager's position on a different sectors, like in the cars, in the textile. So we already become a very good friends with them. Whenever we are even discussing some of the ideas within the class or in the cafeteria or GR rooms, we are communicating whatever practices going on in their sector. Whenever it comes to, like for example, financial cash flows, some companies reduces down the inventory, some keeps inventories. So these kind of ideas which we were discussing, networking definitely helps you a lot in finding a job as well, by the way. That's another beautiful part of Lums. When you are friend of our badge was slightly lesser than the later badge. Some of the badges are like 80 people in those badges, where you can have the connection to 80 different companies indirectly. You can find the connection to the right HR people through your colleagues as well, which can also help you finding a good job after executive MBA. So there is definitely, as I said, there's a professional grooming also being done with an experience of Lums. You are using also these friendship network on your personal side as well. Having some of the iftar parties and hanging hangouts together with the friends. So overall, it's a very constructive experience, learning as well. As a started, I said, a very good diverse experience, and Lums teaches you tolerance, which is a great thing for your grooming in your professional career as well.
Right. Thank you, Adil. Hassan, maybe I can have you. If not, then I'll take perhaps this question to Dafu and then Anwar. So Dafu,
No, I'm here. I'm sorry, I was muted.
You're there? Okay. Good.
I sorry.
Yes.
So mute kiya wala to save you from the road noise. I was saying I'm probably the oldest here by number of years.
Yes, that's what I was. Yes, that's what I wanted to build on. So you are the most senior alumnus currently in this room of Executive MBA. So I wanted to understand from you that perhaps you have seen the network of your friendships and colleagues in Executive MBA for the longest period of time after graduation. So can you talk about that? How this network was created during Executive MBA and how this has furnished over the years?
Well, I definitely think this the connection and the relationships that we built here, other than like we have already touched on the skill set and the knowledge base, I think this is probably almost equally important, something that we come out of. the classroom training and all, that's great. But these relationships are obviously a huge part of our post MBA life. Once we're out of the classroom, and I'm very happy to say I have many strong relations within Lums, out of Lums, with my batchmates, etc. And a really great thing, which I don't know if many people do. Sometimes the faculty actually says they don't, and I'm very happy that I have done it. I have developed very close relations with the faculty as well. I keep going back to Lums. I have very nice, regular contact with most of the faculty that I had. Through those faculty, I've even met more faculty over the years that I haven't actually had classes with. So I think the classmates as well as the faculty is a great network. Of course, it requires time, just like the gentleman earlier was saying, sometimes with family and with work requirements, and especially after the MBA, usually the work responsibilities also tend to increase. So it does take some energy to make time for all of that. One of the ways that I have found it to, other than meeting, some friends off and on, one of the ways that I tend to keep in touch with the whole class as well as the teachers, ever since graduating, I have at least one and sometimes even two over the year. I tend to arrange a reunion of sorts. And I've been, very lucky that most of the faculty and most of the class tends to make it to that, whether it's at my place or even somewhere outside. Taking that initiative really helps everybody else meet each other as well. And of course, I also get to remain in touch. So it's been quite nice that way, and we've made it a regular tradition. Obviously, in any large group, you become closer with a smaller subset of that group. So out of our class was relatively smaller compared to the following years. After me, our class was, I think, a total of naturally out of those 5 or 6 people become very regular or closer friends. But I have, alhamdulillah, managed to be in touch with most of my class over the years, and we still meet from time to time and keep in touch.
Thanks, Hassan. So this was primarily about the friendships, the social and networking part of Executive MBA. If I talk about the pedagogy, the courses, the learning part, Dafu, I will come to you. You tell me that what was the most challenging course, and how did you and your class fellows manage to sustain through it? And what's your feeling as a student? How much burden did you feel, or it was okay? How was it?
Sir, you point to my heart. Actually, it's really challenging for me to join Lums program. In the first semester, I almost want to quit this program. So I think the Jammu really give me tough time, and quantitative measured learning. It really tough time for me. Actually, sir, your course supply chain operation also quite challenging for me. Very tough for me at the beginning. And how I overtake the challenge to complete my learning in Lums. First point is the professor. The professor is very good mentor for me. The Asad Alam Sab, Jammu Sab, and Sir you really helping me, give me the confidence, encouraging me to continue my learning in Lums. And it really helped me when I'm in a tough time. And the first 10 days, too much tough. And the CP, I'm doing very bad in my first 10 days. So I think the first most important thing is the professor. In my viewpoint, my professor becomes my lifelong time mentor, really helping me to overtake the challenge. And second point is the class fellow. My class fellow, I remember, it's about 20 class fellow. So we know each other very well, and they encouraging me because I'm the only Chinese student. And if I quit this program, so we'll know the foreigner student in the class. So my class fellow, they spend a lot of time to study with me, discuss the case with me, helping me improve my English. So they really helping me. Due to the friendship, I feel that no matter how much tough, I will doing a good job to finish it. And I earned my degree from Lums, so it's my really very good learning. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dapu. So Anwar and then Farooq, I will ask the same question, but I think a different dimension. That from what I sense from what Dapu is saying, that it's very demanding, it's very taxing. But you see, for individuals who are working at their job, and for individuals who are working at senior positions, they have responsibility also at work. So then it becomes a challenge that how do you manage it? How do you manage your in-class performance? Because your in-class performance requires a lot of preparation before you come to the classroom. So can you elaborate, Anwar, that how did you prepare? How did you manage your work and your family and your MBA performance?
Sir, I guess I would also like to mention here that I was the one that I had to travel around 8 to 9 hours for Lums on every weekend, on alternate weekend, on every class. So traveling was one challenge. And then of course you have to manage the work as well, the workload, and then you have to prepare for the class. And you have to ensure that you also give time to the family, because if you have weekend and the weekend you are at Lums, so next weekend you have to be with the family. And initially, I would say that what I can recall when I joined the university, the semester system, I was from an annual system. I did FSC. So it was myself to getting adjusted to the semester system. And I had a hit in my first semester in my engineering. And later on, I learned how to cope up with this semester systems, because it's very fast and you have to cope up with all the challenges. You have to do all the preparation. So with the same at Lums, this is basically a term system. So you have to make preparation for all the cases. You are given the course content in the initial start of the class, and you have to get prepared for all the cases that are taught in the on the weekends. So what I did was that I usually spared my weekend for preparation of the coming weekend classes. And then later on, I also used to have at least 1 or 2 hours maximum per day in the evening for preparation of the cases. And later on, when you are done with the first term, in the second term, you are more used to the system. You know how to prepare, how CP, you have to earn good CP, what is the content contribution that you have to make, what the instructor is looking about, and then you get used to the system. But the first term, it's a bit challenging. So you need to put in more efforts. You have to make sure that at times you need to sit down with your family and make sure that they understand that this is a challenging part for you to getting adjusted to the system, because most of the people, they get a hit in their grades in the first term. But once you are able to identify the areas and you are able to cope up with the system that's being in place and how you have to make preparation, so you can easily manage it. I won't say this is not something which is impossible, but at the same time, it also gives you, you can say, pressure. You are working under pressure, and it helps you build your stamina, and it helps you basically prepare yourself for more challenges. Because once you are able to do a good part in your education in Lums, you can further help build on this in your professional career as well. And I must say that the level of attention or the critical thinking that we developed at Lums and the time management, it is helping us a lot in our professional career as of now as well.
Thank you, Anwar. Farooq, you see class participation, everybody saying CP. We have heard this term CP many times in this conversation, but for many, this might be something that you discover when you come to MBA. You don't know what CP really can mean in your life. So can you elaborate this discovery process, and then also how class participation was important, or how the pedagogy, different elements of the pedagogy, the teaching material, the class participation, your preparation, the role of the instructor, how all of this worked for you? And then how did you prepare yourself to do well? I know you were also very busy and you had a senior position when you were doing executive MBA.
Right. So first of all, I think everybody wants to grow in their career, right? But Lums MBA is for those who are willing to work consistently hard, right? It's not easy. You have to consistently work hard, and it is always a balancing act between your job, your family, and the teaching material and class participation. So talking about CP, I mean, we were not used to, as Anwar was saying, we are not used to that class participation thing before. And from engineering background, like we always tend to try to participate when we do have a perfect answer, right? And in business studies, there is no one perfect answer, right? There are different aspects, different point of views, and each point of view is correct. There is no wrong point of view. And that's where in the first semester or so, I think being an engineer, we struggled. Like we were trying to build our argument with all different aspects. And once we are ready to create an argument or go ahead with our argument, that discussion moves on to a different topic, right? And that was kind of a catching exercise always for me, at least in most of the classes. But as Anwar was saying, first semester was tough, and then we get to know that it's a balance between class participation, your final exam, your quizzes, and your assignments. So each and everything matters in terms of HP or LP, right? And then while ones are busy in their jobs and families, you always have to think that which courses are important for them in their career going forward, and which courses in which they are creating interest. So you try to put more efforts into those courses, into those cases, so that either you can improve your understanding and have an HP, for example, in those courses, and in some other courses you try to just go through those so that you build your basic level of understanding and not try to get an HP. So it's like a real life examples in which you cannot do everything perfectly all right.
Thank you, Farooq. So maybe Hassan, I can come back to you. Your camera is turned on again. I have that window of time to have you in. So Hassan, so you graduate from executive MBA, and then naturally you want to see that your education shaping up your work, your career, your endeavors. So if you look at yourself, and maybe you look at your peers also, if you can represent them, how this program has helped you or not helped you, or how this program was influencing, if it was influencing.
I'm still here. I've turned my video off because how has this helped me?
Yeah, so, yes, so we can hear you. Go on, Hassan. I think we lost Hassan, so maybe I can take this cold call. A cold call is coming, Adil Mir. So I'll make this a cold call.
I'm back. I'm back.
You're back. Okay, okay. You
Yes.
can
So the
save
the
Adil.
question was how this has helped since graduation.
Yes, since graduation,
That-
because you have seen the most time since your graduation among the panel that we have today.
Sure, I'd love to answer that, but I want to actually talk about CP and all that. So I just want to for the group and for all the viewers, I just want to put out there that I'm not a big fan of the CP.
Hassan, but you can recall that time has moved on. That conversation has moved on. But you can say that what you're saying.
I'm going to build that into this, and that is that in my personal experience, I saw. Actually, it's relevant. That's why I want to share this with the people. I saw that I really enjoyed the material. It was quite intensive. Enjoyed the rigor of the program. However, I felt, I mean, this whole discussion, this whole conversation, the whole degree is based around mid and senior level professionals. But somehow I felt when it came to CP and the HPs and the LPs, everybody became high schoolers and middle schoolers again to fight for that grade. So I really enjoyed that because I fortunately, at least in my view, I was not one of those people to actually, overstress myself about Zabardasti CP or all those. I studied my bit and then I did the best I could. And I think the best you can do is really the best you can do, right? So I just felt sometimes that's when the inner child came out, competitive student came out in class. And however, it's very even keeled, everybody is back to their, very level professional kind of thing. There's no competition amongst each other. Everybody's doing their own thing. Taking that forward in all these number of years, once again, and I get asked this a lot, about how my experience was and how that's helping me today. And my answer from the first question, I'll like go over that again. The whole thing as we go up the hierarchy in any organization is that you move from taking instructions to giving instructions. So giving instructions and decision making is the single largest thing that I think a manager does, and which is what all of us really are at the end of the day. And analytical thinking, attacking a case from all different sides, having a comprehensive kind of stance on something is something that we take out with us. At most people's levels, when you are 8 or 10 or 12 years into your profession, unless it's a very, very, very technical kind of role, most of us are not actually doing calculations on pieces of paper or even Excel or something. You're mostly receiving information and processing that and then giving decisions or carrying out conversations around information somebody else is generating. So a lot of a major gain from this is a way of critical thinking rather than a certain application of a certain rule or formula or system as such. And I think that is relatively intangible. You can't really put that down on paper, but when you're doing it yourself, you know that your way of thinking, your way of approaching, your way of handling people has matured to a way where it wasn't actually before.
Thank you, Hassan. So I think we have asked. Yeah, it perfectly makes sense. It's understandable. So Hassan, thanks for this. So we have around 5, maybe or 7 more minutes to go, and I would now like to, think about this conversation from the standpoint of a person who is looking at and gauging executive MBA at Lums. So maybe I can have your view that how should I look at this program? Who is the most appropriate? Who is this program most appropriate for? How can somebody prepare for this program? How somebody should gauge the pros and cons of this program? I mean, how the decision making should happen at that stage for the people, for the individuals who are looking at this program and thinking about executive MBA at Lums. So what is your advice to them, that how should they think about it? How should they gauge the relevance and value and pros and cons of this program. So I'm Dafu already pointed out to this. So I'll maybe take Adil, and then I'll take Farokh, and then Anwar, and then we can conclude this conversation.
Yeah,
So
I
quick
think
comments, Adil and Farokh and Anwar. So quick comments.
my quick comment on this one is the person who is interested in taking this course, first he or she must realize that this is not a, how would you call, say, a very layer journey of getting another degree. In some of the institute, we just enroll ourselves and we can easily get a certificate or degree without not putting that much efforts here. In Lums, especially this executive MBA course, you have to be very serious from the beginning. It's not it's a roller coaster ride. You sometimes gets highs, sometimes get lows, but this is a very serious course. This is one advice I would suggest at this time to all those people who are interested. One thing. Second thing is you need to make sure how you are balancing your work life and study balance. So, normally we have a work and life balance, and now this is another part, which is a study balance. So these are the two, I would say, quick advices, which I wanted to say here. Anybody who wants to come, first of all, this is an excellent course. These 2 years will change your lifespan. These 2 years will change the whole course of your career. That's given. I can tell you right now, anybody who is listening to me. This is a great, I would say, course where you can say the value for money. It's a little bit expensive. This is an executive MBA, but trust me, you get it. Sometimes you are lucky and you can easily recover within less than quarter of your working after executive MBA. But you need to make your mind that you are ready for this challenge. You wanted to go through this one, put a lot of effort. Don't go to this degree, as I already mentioned, no, this is a very relaxing one. No, you need to put an effort. And this will be an excellent 2 years of your life. I can certainly guarantee from my own experience. I have learned a lot. Every day what I'm working right now, somehow it has a relation and link to the 2 years which I have spent and learned in Lums. Yeah, so that's my advice.
Thank you, Adil. Maybe
Right.
Farokh.
Yeah, so I mean, Adil has comprehensively covered the topic, but a couple of things which I just wanted to highlight here is organizations spend a lot of amount in trainings, which are sometimes, the people move from Lahore to Karachi or Lahore to Islamabad. There's travel and living involved, and those training programs sometimes becomes very expensive. I think we need to go back into our organization and lobby for such courses like Lums Executive MBA program to shift organization mindset from one-off training programs, which are in total cost becomes a lot more expensive versus this MBA program, to get some sort of a funding from your organizations too. And if you can manage to start lobbying for that, at least, I think that will be a win for you going forward. It will probably not give fruits to you, but probably to other employees after you will complete your executive MBA program. Start lobbying for that so that organizations can contribute, if not fully, partially for this MBA program. Secondly, I think it's important that unless and until we go through some hard work, we will not learn anything, right? So I think it's given, as Adil was saying, it's a rigorous 2 years sort of a training program, and it will teach you discipline and hard work in a team environment. And these three constituents for me, if you are disciplined, you are doing hard work, and you manages to work in a team while keeping team members motivated, that's a recipe for a success, right, in any given organization. And Lums will definitely teach you these three things during this 2 years program. And like it or not, afterwards you will carry those, because these 2 years will make sure that these three values will stick with you.
Thanks, Anwar, and then I'll also ask Dafu and Hassan to give very brief comments on this standpoint for our audience. Anwar.
Yes, sir. I guess Adil and Hassan have covered almost major point, but what I would like to add here is that you need to be very clear at the start of program that you need commitment from your organization as well as from your family, because that's the challenging part for most of the people. So you need to commit 2 years of your life for this enriching program. Once you are able to fully commit, you will be able to easily do it. Otherwise, there are challenges. Everyone has challenges in their organizations. We are getting workload. So you have to keep a balance between all this, the study and the work part, and as well as the family life. So that's something that you need to make sure at the very start of this program.
Thanks, Anwar. So maybe Dafu, quick point that how should someone gauge this program at this point in time? And then I'll also ask Hassan.
Sir, from my perspective, if someone in the middle career, if he want to move to C-level, become a CXO, I think Lums is a good choice for this. I think, for example, this gentleman or this lady to come to achieve it. So from my viewpoint, if someone want the best resources, because Lums will give you best professor, best networking, best international impact in Pakistan. So I recommend if someone won't have such good resource in Pakistan, I recommend come to Lums Mba program. This is my viewpoint. Thank you.
Thanks, Dafu. Hassan, last comment from you. Unmute yourself. The common phrase, the most common phrase of Zoom.
Sorry. I think I'll just be repeating what everybody else has said. We've spent plenty of time on what happens during the coursework, the quality of coursework, and what happens after. This is something that we need to spend more time on when we advise incoming. Friends, this is not good. I don't think it's fair to say you can balance it. The workload is very, very difficult.
Okay, so I think we can conclude this conversation, and I definitely want to thank all of the panel members for taking out time, especially Dafu, you are joining us from Beijing, and for such a warm addition in the conversation. Thanks so much. Also, thanks to the marketing team and our communication team, Aisha Khan at SDSB, Muhammad Ali at marketing team. Thank you very much, and we can
Thank you, sir.
close this. Yes, thanks.
Thank you for having us.